Arya's phone buzzed relentlessly the next morning. At first, she ignored it, her head heavy from a night of restless tears. But when the same number appeared for the third time, she finally answered. Arya Calloway. Her chest went cold at the sound of the voice. Smooth, confident, a little too sharp. Nathaniel, she whispered. Good morning. His tone was falsely warm, dripping with charm. I thought it was time. We had a conversation, without my brother clouding your judgment. Arya's stomach nodded. What do you want? Only to help, he said smoothly. You've seen the news. You know what Kieran's legacy really is. My father taught us both the same lessons. But unlike Kieran, I don't pretend to be innocent. He wears his guilt like a shadow. And you'll be burned by it. I don't believe you. Nathaniel chuckled softly. Then believe the evidence. You've seen the articles, the documents, the ruined artists who curse his name. You think it's all lies. Her hand trembled, clutching the phone tighter. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve better, Nathaniel replied, his voice lowering like a serpent's hiss. You deserve someone who will not only protect you, but elevate you. Hale Industries could be your patron. Arya, your work could hang in galleries across continents. No struggling, no blank canvases born of despair. All I ask is one thing. Her throat dried. And what's that? Walk away from Kieran. Come with me instead. The room seemed to tilt, spinning with the weight of his words. You're insane. No, Nathaniel said calmly. I'm inevitable. Kieran will fall whether by scandal or by his own guilt consuming him. Don't let him drag you down. Choose me, and you'll never need to fear again. Arya's chest tightened with fury. You'd sell my soul to you, after everything you've done. His voice sharpened. I think you already have a choice to make. Loyalty to a broken man or survival. Don't take too long to decide, Arya. Time isn't a luxury in this game. He ended the call before she could respond, leaving her trembling in the silence of her apartment. Later that day, she confronted Kieran. He looked wrecked, dark circles under his eyes, his jaw unshaven, his usual armor of control fractured. I know he called you, Kieran said hoarsely the moment she entered. You knew. Nathaniel doesn't make moves without letting me feel the echo. He's been waiting for this. Arya's hands fisted at her sides. He offered me a choice. Walk away from you and side with him. Kieran's eyes flashed, fury surging beneath the surface. If he touches you again, you'll what? She cut in sharply. Destroy him. The way your father destroyed artists like me. The way your silence destroyed us. The words cut, but she couldn't stop them. She needed him to fight for her, not just with fists and threats, but with truth. Kieran stepped closer, his voice ragged. I am not my father, and I am not. Nathaniel, I have made mistakes. Arya, yes, but loving you is not one of them. Don't let him twist this. Her eyes blurred with tears. Then, prove it. Don't just promise. Show me who you are when everything else is stripped away. Kieran's chest rose and fell, his silence stretching into eternity. Finally, he whispered, I will, but if you stay, it will break you. Loving me will break you. Her voice cracked. It already has. That night, Arya painted again, the canvas filled with fire and shadow, with fragments of light clawing through darkness. It wasn't beautiful, was raw, aching, violent, but it was hers. As the strokes bled across the canvas, she realized something. This wasn't just about Kieran's past or Nathaniel's power. This was about her, for choice, for strength, and maybe, just maybe, she could turn their war into something neither of them expected. She set the brush down, her breath heavy. For the first time in days, she felt a flicker of resolve. If Nathaniel wanted her as a pawn, and Kieran feared she'd be broken, then she'd carve a different role. She'd be the one to decide how this ended. Arya woke with a clarity she hadn't felt in weeks. The night's painting still glistened on the easy langry streaks of black clod through with crimson and gold. It wasn't pretty, but it was honest. It was her truth, and it reminded her of something important. She wasn't powerless. For too long, she had let herself be swept along by Kieran's silence, by Nathaniel's schemes, by fear of her own breaking heart. But she was more than a pawn in their family's war. She was an artist. She knew how to turn pain into something That morning, she made calls to the gallery owner, who still believed in her, to the journalist who'd once written kindly about her work. She sent photos of the painting titled Inheritance. She let them see the fire, the despair, the rebellion bleeding across the canvas. By evening, the article was out. Emerging artist Aria Calloway responds to Hale scandal with defiant new work. Her phone buzzed endlessly with messages, interviews, invitations. For the first time since the chaos began, her name wasn't buried under Kieran's shadow. It stood on its own. Kieran came to her that night. He looked at the painting for a long time, his face unreadable. Finally, he said, "You turned my shame into your strength." Aria folded her arms, her voice trembling but firm. "I won't be defined by what you or Nathaniel did. I won't let either of you take that from me." He stepped closer, his eyes burning with something fierce. "Do you hate me for it?" Her throat tightened. "Some days, I think I should. But then you look at me like this, and I can't. Because I know the man you're trying to be." He reached for her hand, hesitating before brushing his fingers against hers. "You're stronger than me, Aria. Stronger than I ever thought anyone could be." Tears stung her eyes. "Then don't make me fight this alone. Stand with me. Be honest. Be more than your father's mistakes." For a long moment, Kieran was silent. Then he exhaled, as though releasing years of burden. "Tomorrow, I'll go public. The truth, no matter the cost." Her breath caught. "You mean it?" "Yes," he said, his voice firm. "If Nathaniel wants to drag me into the light, I'll burn there willingly. But I won't let him scorch you too." The next morning, Kieran announced a press conference. The media swarmed instantly, sensing blood. Nathaniel called Aria before the event. His voice was colder this time, stripped of false warmth. "You think you've won because you've made a painting." His laugh was sharp, cruel. "He'll destroy himself out there, Aria. And when he falls, you'll fall too." Aria steadied her voice. "Maybe. But at least I'll fall, knowing I chose truth, not fear." There was a pause, then a hiss. "You'll regret this." The line went dead. When Kieran took the stage later that day, Aria stood in the back of the crowded room, her heart hammering. Cameras flashed like lightning. The air buzzed with hunger for scandal. Kieran stepped up to the podium, tall and unflinching. His voice carried through the hall, steady but raw. "I am not here to deny the past. I signed contracts I should have questioned. I allowed my father's empire to use my name. And because of that, innocent people suffered. Artists, dreamers, people like Aria Calloway were silenced." Gasps rippled through the crowd at her name. Aria's pulse quickened. "But I am here to say that I will not hide behind excuses." Kieran continued, "I will not let Nathaniel or anyone else twist this into a weapon. I am guilty of silence. I am guilty of weakness, but I am not guilty of abandoning change. I will fight to rebuild what was broken, even if it costs me everything." The room erupted with questions, cameras flashing wildly, and in the back, Aria's eyes filled with tears. Because, for the first time, Kieran Hale wasn't just a man wrapped in shadows. He was hers. A man who chose truth, even when it burned. That night, when the world was still roaring with headlines, Aria and Kieran stood together on her balcony. The city glittered below, but all she could see was him, his weary eyes, his trembling hands, the quiet weight lifted from his shoulders. "You did it," she whispered. "I did it because of you," he murmured. A voice broke. "And I don't know what comes next, but I know I'm not afraid anymore." Kieran leaned his forehead against hers, his voice soft but steady. "Then, whatever comes, we'll face it together." And for the first time, she believed him. The morning after Kieran's press conference, the world buzzed like a hive. News anchors replayed his speech with commentary ranging from admiration to scorn. Social media exploded with hashtags, debates, and fiery arguments. But beneath the noise, silence clung to Aria's apartment like smoke. She hadn't slept. She'd lain awake on the couch, listening to the city breathe, waiting for the inevitable strike. It came at dawn, a knock at her door. Sharp, precise. When she opened it, no one stood there. Only a small envelope on the floor, sealed in black wax. Her chest tightened as she bent to pick it up. She already knew who it was from. Inside was a single photograph, grainy, but clear enough. Her and Kieran on her balcony, heads close together, the intimacy undeniable. Scrawled across the bottom, in thick ink, were the words, "How much is your love worth, Miss Calloway?" Her hands shook. She turned the photo over, and a second message burned into her eyes. "Meet me alone, tonight, or the world will see more than your art." Her stomach dropped. Nathaniel had been watching, waiting, and now he had her cornered. Kieran arrived later that morning, exhausted but determined. His press team wanted him to issue follow-up statements, but he'd pushed them aside, choosing her instead. The moment Arya showed him the photograph, fury ignited in his eyes. He crushed it in his fist. "He's not going to touch you. Not while I'm breathing." Her voice shook. "He doesn't need to touch me, Kieran. He's watching. He's in my life like poison. If I don't meet him, he'll drag me into the fire." Kieran grabbed her shoulders, his grip firm. "No, you won't go alone. That's what he wants to lure you into his web. He thrives on control, on making people believe they're powerless." Tears stung her eyes. "Then, what do we do?" His jaw tightened. "We turn the game back on him. But that means trusting me even when it feels impossible." She searched his face, seeing the cracks in his armor, the desperate need to protect her. And for the first time, she realized Kieran wasn't just fighting Nathaniel. He was fighting the part of himself that believed he could never deserve her. Arya nodded slowly. "Then I'll meet him, but not alone." That evening, Arya arrived at the appointed place, a sleek rooftop bar overlooking the city. The air was cold, sharp with wind. She wore her fear-like armor, her chin high as she scanned the shadows. Nathaniel emerged from the darkness with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "You came. Brave or foolish, I haven't decided yet." Arya's heart pounded, but she held her ground. "What do you want from me?" He circled her, slowly, like a predator, savoring the hunt. "I want what my brother thinks he can have you. Not because of love, flatter yourself, but because you're the only thing that makes him bleed. And I intend to watch him bleed." Her breath caught. "You're sick." Nathaniel leaned close, his whisper brushing her ear. "Maybe, but I'm also patient. And sooner or later, you'll see that Kieran can't save you. He'll fail you, like he fails everyone." Arya's pulse hammered. For a moment, fear threatened to swallow her, whole until a voice cut through the night. "Step away from her." Kieran stepped out of the shadows, his presence like thunder rolling across the rooftop. His eyes locked on Nathaniel's, hard and unyielding. Nathaniel only laughed, low and cruel. "Of course, the night arrives to rescue his damsel. Predictable." "This isn't a game," Kieran snapped. Nathaniel's smile sharpened. "Oh, but it is. And you've already lost." He slipped a phone from his pocket, holding it up so they both could see. On the screen was a series of photos of Kieran, their most private moments together. The kind of images that could shatter reputations and fuel scandal for years. "One push," Nathaniel murmured, his thumb hovering over the screen. "And the world devours you both." Arya's heart thundered. "Why? Why destroy us?" Nathaniel's eyes glinted with cold fire. "Because if Kieran has something pure, something untouched, it proves he's stronger than me, and I can't allow that." For the first time, Arya understood the depth of Nathaniel's hatred. It wasn't just power. It was envy. Envy of Kieran's love, of his change, of the light he'd found in her. She stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear. "Then, you've already lost. Because you can't take this from us." "Not really. You can expose us, ruin us, break us, but you'll never have what we have." Kieran's eyes widened, pride and love burning through the fury. Nathaniel's smile faltered. Just for a second, but it was enough. Kieran lunged, seizing the phone, crushing it in his fist before Nathaniel could react. The sound of breaking glass and metal shattered the night. For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then, Nathaniel's voice dropped, low and venomous. "You'll regret that, brother." He turned, vanishing into the shadows, leaving only the echo of his threat behind. Arya's legs buckled as the adrenaline drained from her. Kieran caught her, holding her against his chest. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice raw. "I never should have let him near you." Arya clung to him, tears streaking her face. "We can't run from him, Kieran, not anymore. We have to end this together." He kissed her hair, his voice steady despite the storm in his eyes. "Then, that's what we'll do, whatever it takes." And for the first time, Arya believed they might not just survive. Nathaniel knew they might defeat him. When the night came, the line stretched around the block. Critics, students, artists, strangers, they all came, drawn by the story of the woman caught in the hailstorm. Inside, Her paintings spoke for her. They bled with honesty, raw and unfiltered. One canvas showed a figure reaching toward light, while shadows clawed at her ankles. Another burned with streaks of red and black, a storm swallowing a city. But the centerpiece stopped them all. Inheritance, the painting she had made in the darkest night, when her heart was breaking. As the crowd hushed before it, Arya felt her fear dissolve. For the first time, she wasn't hiding behind Kieran's shadow or Nathaniel's threats. She was herself, unapologetic, unbroken. But Nathaniel didn't stay silent. As the evening reached its peak, reporters' phones buzzed with notifications. Within minutes, the whispers spread. Screens lit up with breaking news alerts. Exclusive leak. Private correspondence links Arya Calloway to Kieran Hale's confession strategy. Emails, fabricated but convincing. Messages that made it look as though Arya had staged her defiance. Collaborated with Kieran to manipulate the public, using her art as nothing more than a weapon in his war. The gallery erupted in chaos. Some guests stormed out. Others crowded Arya with questions, flashing cameras in her face. Her pulse hammered as the walls closed in. And then Kieran appeared, pushing through the crowd, his arm wrapping protectively around her. His voice cut through the uproar, low but commanding. Enough. The room fell quiet. This is Nathaniel's work, Kieran said, his gaze sweeping the crowd. Every lie you see tonight is his attempt to destroy what he cannot control. But this, he gestured to the paintings, this is Arya Calloway, and no amount of poison can erase her truth. His voice shook, but his eyes burned. I would rather fall with her than rise without her. And if you can't see that, then you were never worthy of her art to begin with. Silence hung heavy. Then, slowly, one by one, people began to clap. A spark, then a wave, until the entire gallery roared with applause. Arya's vision blurred with tears. She turned to Kieran, her heart aching with love and terror all at once. Because, even as the crowd cheered, she knew Nathaniel wasn't done. This was only the fire before the storm. The gallery triumph should have been Arya's victory. For one night, she had silenced the whispers, turned her pain into power. But triumph never lasted long in the Hales' war. By the next morning, Nathaniel's retaliation arrived. This time, it wasn't rumors. It wasn't photographs. It was violence. Arya was in her studio when the call came. Maya's voice shook on the other end of the line. Ario, need to come now. Her heart lurched. What happened? It's the gallery. Someone broke in, smashed windows, slashed the canvases. Inheritance. Maya's voice cracked. It's gone. Arya froze, her body numb. The painting that had carried her through the darkest hours, the piece that had become her truth, it was stolen. She didn't need to ask who was behind it. For the first time, Nathaniel's smile cracked. His eyes darkened. Careful, Arya. She stepped closer to the painting, her fingers brushing the ruined frame. You can steal my work. You can smear my name, but you'll never have me, and you'll never take him from me. Nathaniel's voice dropped, low and venomous. Then, you've made your choice, and so have I. Before she could react, shadows stirred at the edges of the warehouseman, stepping out. Silent, threatening. Arya's breath caught. She was outnumbered, trapped, until another voice cut through the air. Step away from her. Kieran. His figure emerged from the darkness. His eyes locked on Nathaniel, fury burning like wildfire. Nathaniel laughed softly, shaking his head. Of course. The knight never stays in his tower. This ends tonight, Kieran said, his voice steel. Nathaniel's eyes glinted. Oh, brother, it's only just beginning. Arya's heart tore with every strike. She saw not just men, but brothers' boys, who had once shared secrets, who had once needed each other. And she knew, if she didn't stop them now, one of them would die. Arya ran between them, her voice raw with desperation. Stop. Both of you. They froze, breaths ragged, eyes blazing. She turned to Nathaniel first, tears streaking her face. You think this will make you whole? That breaking him, breaking me, will give you back what you lost? It won't. It'll only leave you emptier than before. Nathaniel's chest rose and fell, his fists trembling at his sides. His eyes flickered anger, grief, longing. For a second, he looked like a boy again. Then Arya turned to Kieran, cupping his bloodied face in her hands. And you can't fight him like this. Not with rage. Not with hate. If you do, you'll become exactly what he says you are. Don't let him write your story. Kieran's breath shuddered, his grip on her wrists desperate. He won't stop, Arya. He'll never stop. Her voice broke. Then we have to end it another way. The warehouse fell silent. The three of them, locked in a triangle of love, fury, and despair. Nathaniel's voice finally cut through, low and bitter. You can't save him from me, and you can't save me from myself. And with that, he turned and walked into the shadows, leaving behind the echo of his footsteps, then the threat that lingered with them. Kieran collapsed against Arya, his body shaking. She held him, her heart torn between relief and dread, because though Nathaniel had left, his words hung heavy in the air. This wasn't over, and the next choice Arya made could decide not just her future, but theirs. When Kieran found her staring at the note, he didn't rage. He didn't curse. He simply walked to her, taking it from her trembling hands. I told you, he said quietly. He doesn't want me. He wants to take you from me. That's the only victory he's ever cared about. Her voice broke. What if leaving you is the only way to protect you? Pain flickered across his face, sharper than any wound. Protect me, Arya. You are the only reason I'm still standing. Without you, there's nothing left to protect. Tears blurred her vision. Then, what do we do? He's ripping us apart, piece by piece. Kieran pulled her into his arms, holding her like a drowning man clings to air. Then we don't let go. Not now, not ever. He can take everything else, but he will never take this. His lips met hers, desperate, raw, as though trying to carve their truth into existence before the world stole it. She clung to him, knowing it might be the last time they kissed without chains around them. The next morning, Arya made a decision. She went to Nathaniel, alone. The penthouse was cold, sterile, filled with glass and shadow. Nathaniel stood by the window, the city sprawling beneath him. He turned, his smile precise as a blade. I knew you'd come. Arya's voice shook, but didn't break. I came to end this. Nathaniel's eyes gleamed. Then, say the words. Leave him. Stand with me. You'll have your art, your future, your freedom. Arya stepped closer, every muscle trembling. And if I refuse? His smile vanished. Then, he loses everything. His company, his name, his freedom. And you'll watch him rot while you fade into nothing. Silence. Her heart pounded, her throat dry. Then, she whispered, You'll never have me. Nathaniel's face hardened, fury burning beneath his calm exterior. Then you've condemned him. Arya's voice broke, but her eyes blazed. No, you have, because no matter what you destroy, you'll never break what we are. It's your curse. Nathaniel Luel always have power, but you'll never have love. For the first time, Nathaniel's composure cracked. His eyes narrowed, venomous. Then, I'll make sure you both burn. Arya turned and walked out, her knees weak, but her resolve unshaken. Behind her, she heard the sound of glass shattering. That night, she returned to Kieran, collapsing into his arms. She told him everything: Nathaniel's threat, her refusal, the storm that was coming. Kieran's lips pressed against her hair, his voice trembling but steady. Then, we face it together. Whatever comes. Arya held him tighter, her tears soaking into him, because she knew the war wasn't over. It was about to reach its final act. The storm broke. 3 nights later, Arya woke to pounding on her door. Maya's panicked face appeared in the frame, her words tumbling out. The police, they're coming for Kieran. Warrants, charges, everything, Nathaniel promised. Arya's chest constricted. She ran to the living room, where Kieran stood already dressed. Calm, in a way that chilled her. He had expected this. They'll take me, he said quietly. But they won't take us. Her voice cracked. No, we can fight this. Kieran cupped her face, his thumb brushing away tears. We will. But you have to promise me something. No matter what happens to me, don't let him silence you. Keep painting. Keep living. Don't let him win by erasing who you are. Her heart splintered. Don't you dare talk like this is the end. He kissed her forehead, a trembling smile ghosting his lips. It's not the end. It's the promise. The police stormed in. Kieran didn't resist. His wrists were cuffed, his rights read. Cameras flashing outside as the world devoured the spectacle. Arya pushed through the crowd, screaming his name. He turned, meeting her eyes for a single heartbeat before the car door closed. She cared about the man standing beside her, his hand entwined with hers, his eyes soft as they roamed her work. This Kieran said quietly, is what victory looks like. Arya smiled through her tears. No. This is what love looks like. He kissed her temple, whispering the words that had carried them through fire and ruin. I can't promise safety, but I promise forever. Her heart swelled, her voice breaking as she answered. Then, forever it is. And for the first time, there was no storm in the distance, only dawn.